Hey, everyone. Welcome to Strange Stories, where we explore near-death experiences and supernatural stories from people who've had a glimpse of the other side. If you enjoy our content, please consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel. Without further ado, let's get to the story of the day.
I became depressed when I was in my 30s. It eventually gained entire control of me, and I determined to commit suicide. I went to bed after taking large amounts of medication. This eventually caused my body to stop working, and I crossed time and space to another dimension. When I looked up, I heard a voice say, "I'll give you 2 coins. Make good use of them." 2 coins fell into my fingers, and I examined them for a moment. Then I shut my hand. I looked ahead and saw vast expanses of water stretching as far as the eye could see. A game that I and the kids in my neighborhood used to play brought back a childhood memory for me. Schipper mag ik overvaren was the tune we always sung before the game began. What about ga? Is it necessary for me to pay more than 1 cent? What about ga? How? That's how we sang the Dutch version of the song. This is how I translated it into English. May cross the water, sailor? Do you agree or disagree? Do I have to pay anything? Do you agree or disagree? How? Then I realized that it had to be the Styx River, and I needed to cross it. I began singing the song, and after a while, I noticed a boat gently approaching me, with someone standing in it. When he arrived at the beach, I looked at him and he looked back. Then a bony hand reached out to me. I felt instinctively that I had to give him a coin. As a result, I did. He raised the coin, glanced at it, and then at me. He nodded to me and motioned with his hand for me to step onto the boat. As a result, I did. I'm not sure how long I was on the boat, but I remember thinking about my life. The bony sailor remained silent. He gradually moved his staff into the sea, pushing us further away from the shore. I got to my feet and peered around to see if I could see the opposite coast. Nothing but water could be seen. I sat down and resumed my thoughts. When I stared at the bony sailor, he nodded once more. His finger pointed upward, and he made a movement with his hands, as if balancing something. I gazed up and considered how to climb up into paradise, since I had a strong sensation I belonged there. It felt like the direction and adventure I needed to take. Oh God, I thought. I know I was thinking too much about myself and that I did good and bad things. But all I really want now is to go to your light. You are extremely near to attaining this goal, stated a voice as a faint light appeared in the sky. But it wasn't what he was hoping to hear. Then I realized that this suicide, and everything that preceded it, was all about me whining about the why me factor. You know, the why me question. I used to talk to God all the time. I hoped for an answer, but every time I didn't get one, it made me feel worse. It wasn't that I didn't get an answer. It was that I didn't ask the appropriate question. I must have been doing something wrong all along, I reasoned. Where did I go wrong? Then it all came back to me. It wasn't a case of why me. That was the polar opposite of what happened. It was you who did it. In Dutch, juist jij. Everything that happened to me happened because it was the path I had to travel to eventually arrive at this point. A weight lifted off me, and I finally accepted everything. Most importantly, I accepted myself. Then 2 angels appeared and hoisted me up. Being so near to these amazing beings made me feel as pure as light itself. I just recall a few details from our talk. Are you ready to embark on your journey into the light? They inquired. My response was a resounding yes. because being so near to the two angels restored my courage and self-esteem. "Beautiful tears to fill up the water," one of the angels whispered as I cried. "You're here very early, aren't you?" inquired the other. "Yes," I said once again. I felt humiliated for being so selfish as to commit suicide, and a flush appeared on my cheeks. "When I'm early, does it mean that if it wasn't my time yet?" I said. "I wasn't supposed to arrive later than this." "Does that mean I have to return?" "That isn't for me to decide," the angel responded. "You will soon be in a position where everything will become evident, so don't be concerned." Concerning my concern, I replied, "This has been the tale of my life. Perhaps it's time for a change," inquired the other angel. "I'm hoping so," I answered. "There is always hope," the angel answered, "because it comes from the light that guides us." Then we arrived at this vast tunnel of light, and the angel stated, "This is where we'll take you, since this is a journey you must undertake on your own. We don't have to take this journey with you because we're already in the light. Goodbye. I'll see you soon," I said. "Not soon enough, I hope," one angel said. They flew away, saying, "Never forget who you are or where you came from," and waving. I returned their gesture, turned around, peered at the tunnel, and took a hesitant step into it. It was as if I was being sucked into it. I recall nothing about the tunnel of light, other than being sucked into it. What I do recall is a cliff on which my deceased family members and other persons who were very important in my life were waiting for me. I got so many hugs and kisses. I'm still warmed by their presence. I spoke with each of them individually. I won't go into specifics about what we talked about because it's between myself and them. The bottom conclusion is that it felt fantastic because I felt like I could be myself here and that it was a very warm home. It was a location where anyone who wanted to be a part of and participate in this special place was welcome. Following the discussions, embraces, and kisses, a voice indicated that it was time for me to leave once more. I replied that I didn't want to leave, and leaving here would leave a scar. I began crying once more because the notion of leaving was agonizing. The voice told me that I still had a life to live, and that I had made the right decision. Actually, him saying that felt very amazing. I asked if I could remember everything so that I could teach others. "In time," the voice said. "We will be glad when you tell your story and pass it on so that others can pass it on as well. It is now time to return." I recall saying farewell to everyone and crying once again. I tumbled off the cliff and back into my earthly body. It wasn't a pretty sight when I opened my eyes. I'll save you the gory details. I was sick and lonely, and I don't recall nearly as much as I do now. It was 10 years ago. I guess I'm finally ready to put everything down on paper, so I did. I believe I've learned my lesson, yet it's not time for me to leave. That, I believe, is not for me to decide. I'll wait and let God make the decision for me. I'll let Him bet my life on right and wrong and where I belong, in the skies or somewhere else. By writing this account, I intend to demonstrate that that location is close to heaven. But I have to say that the adventure I did is still with me wherever I go. I really miss heaven. Cries more tear for the water. The warmth, the sensation of finally being at home and finally being with the people who love me the most. The ones I can love back with hugs. And of course, the feeling of being yourself regardless of what. I still prefer to leave the planet. This is the most troubling aspect for me. My adventure left a large scar, one I would not suggest to anyone. So, be cautious out there. I hope my tale inspires people all over the world not to make the same mistakes I did. And please, don't do as I do. Suicide is not the solution. What I'm writing is true, and I hope it helps people on their path through life. Last but not least, don't begin a conversation with God with, "Why me?" It will not open any doors, but will instead close them. He's there, and He's listening to you all. All you have to do is find the proper words. Patrick, have a wonderful life.